3 letters, 3 different styles. In this video, I'll walk you through a complete guide to IELTS General Training Writing Task 1. We'll write all 3 letters and you'll learn how to get a band 7, 7.5 or an even higher score using the strategies I've taught to over 30,000 students in my courses. First of all, let's read all 3 letters, and I want you to decide whether each task requires a formal, semi-formal or an informal answer. And I'll show you how to open and close each of them so you know exactly what to say in any situation. Let's start with this topic. The rubbish collection system in your local area doesn't work properly. Write a letter to the local council or your local administration. In your letter, describe the problem, explain how it affects you and your neighbors, suggest what to do about it. Begin your letter as follows: Dear Sir or Madam. Write at least 150 words. This is one of the topics our students reported in a recent exam, and most likely you won't get the exact one on your test day, but this type comes up all the time. So let's have a look. What kind of letter is it? We are writing to a public body, the local council. We don't know the person's name, and we don't know the person, and we have a complaint. Whenever you're writing to someone in their official role, especially if you don't know them, you go formal. Now, let's build a quick reference for how we open and close each type of letter, starting with this one. So for a formal letter, the greeting is Dear Sir or Madam, if we don't know the name, or Dear Mr. Brown, if we do. To open, we use I am writing to express, or I am writing in regard to a certain situation. And when we make a suggestion, we'd say, I would propose that, or I would like to suggest. And we can close with, I look forward to hearing from you, and a sign-off, yours faithfully, followed by your full name, first and last. Memorize these phrases. They work in almost every formal letter you write. And now let's look at our second task. Your manager has recently announced that he plans to leave the company. He's been a mentor to you for several years. Write a letter to your manager. In your letter, thank him for mentoring you. Explain how you feel about him leaving and ask about his future plans. Another topic our students reported. Same question. Formal, semi-formal, informal. This one's a little trickier. Some students would say formal. We are writing to a manager after all. But actually, it's semi-formal. The relationship is personal. You've worked with this person for years. He's been your mentor. I know that even some IELTS instructors say, oh, forget about semi-formal, just choose between formal and informal. But if you write a letter to a manager you worked with closely for years, in the same style as you would write a formal job application, is this style really appropriate? You need to find the golden middle, not too stiff as a formal letter, and not overly informal. Somewhere in the middle. I know it's hard, and I'll show you how to do it. For semi-formal, the greeting is the person's first name if you know them well, like Dear James, or it may be their surname, Dear Mr. Brown, if you want to be a little bit more polite. So to open, something warmer. I wanted to write to you personally about, or I just wanted to write to you about. When we suggest something, we may say, may I suggest? Or perhaps we could. And we close with something like, I'd love to hear what you think. Hope to hear from you soon. And a sign off, best regards, kind regards, or all the best, followed by your first name only. See the difference already? So 5 elements, different feel in every single one. Okay, and the last task. You are unable to attend your friend's birthday party last weekend. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, apologize for not attending. Explain why you couldn't go and suggest how you make it up to them. You don't need to guess on this one. It's informal. Writing to a friend is always informal. And this is the most relaxed register we get in IELTS. For informal, the greeting is Dear Emma. So yes, we still say dear. To open, use something casual. I just wanted to drop you a line about, or I thought I'd write because. For suggestions, a simple how about or why don't we works perfectly. And we close with can't wait to hear back or speak soon. And we sign off with lots of love or see you soon or take care, followed by your first name. So there is your reference. 3 styles, 5 elements, different feel in each. One quick thing before we move on. Once you pick a style, stick with it. Don't drift between more formal and more informal in the same letter, because this is actually the fastest way to lose marks on tone consistency. So let's start writing. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. This video is part of our Ultimate IELTS Guide series, where we cover every section of the IELTS exam and all the strategies you need to know. And there is a companion PDF with extra materials, including all the sample answers from today's lesson, and I'll link it below for you to download. Okay, let's go to the letter. We are writing to the local council about the rubbish collection. The simplest structure is this: a greeting, a short opening, which is optional. Then, very important, you write 1 paragraph per bullet point, so 3 body paragraphs, an optional closing, and a signing off. Let me show you. Opening. Dear Sir or Madam, I'm writing to express my serious concerns about the rubbish collection service in our neighborhood, which has fallen well below the standard residents pay for through their council tax. So we start with Dear Sir or Madam, because we don't know the name of anyone at the council. And then we get straight into it. I am writing to express. This is our formal opening formula from the comparison slide. And it tells the reader exactly why you're writing in the very first sentence. So we don't waste time, no small talk, no who I am introduction. Straight to the point. State your purpose immediately. Now, the first bullet point, describe the problem. Over the past 2 months, collections have become highly irregular. So this is what the paragraph is about. But the examiner wants to see each bullet point clearly addressed and expanded. And that's what we need to do here. So we're not just saying, well, the collections are bad. We need to give specific examples. The bin lorries often skip our street entirely. And on the days when they do come, several bags are left behind on the pavement. As a result, rubbish accumulates outside our houses for days at a time, sometimes for over a week. These are our examples, and I think it's clear enough there is a problem. One vocabulary note. So, highly irregular or accumulates. These are precise, formal words. In a formal letter, specific vocabulary lifts your lexical resource score, but only if you use it correctly. If in doubt, use a simpler word instead. Now, the next paragraph explains how this affects everyone on the road. That's bullet point 2. But I want to keep this video reasonably short because we have 2 more letters to look at. So we're not going to read it. You can find it in the PDF you can download below. So let's jump to bullet point 3. In this paragraph, we need to give our suggestions. So we could write, I would therefore propose that the Council review the current schedule to ensure consistent weekly collections and appoint a contact person residents can reach when bags are missed. A clear timetable posted on the Council website would also help us plan more effectively. So we've made our suggestions, so 2 of them. And there is a lovely grammar point in this sentence. I would propose that the Council review, not reviews, but review. Is it a mistake? No, that's called the subjunctive mood. So I propose that the Council review. I suggest that she go. We recommend that he take. I insist that they be. We use the subjunctive after verbs like propose, suggest, recommend, demand, insist. And the verb stays in its base form, so we don't add s or ed. And you don't have to use this subjunctive mood to pass your test. But if you know it, this will help with your grammar score. And I would therefore propose is a useful phrase to memorize. Therefore links the suggestion back to the problem we just described. And it shows the examiner we are thinking logically and moving from one paragraph to the next, which counts towards your coherence and cohesion. Now, the ending. I look forward to hearing from you regarding the steps that will be taken. Yours faithfully, Sarah Mitchell. This is the most common formal closing line in English, and you can use it in every formal letter. Yours faithfully, because we started with Dear Sir and Madam. And finally, the sign-off is the first and last name, Sarah Mitchell, because it's a formal letter. And, well, the Council needs to know who's writing. So this was our formal letter, but the type I find students struggle with more is actually the semi-formal letter. And you really need to nail the tone in that one. And I'll show you it in a second. But if you want to go deeper into what we cover in a YouTube video and learn how to write each type of letter and each type of essay and use your English skills smartly to meet the requirements examiners use to assess you, check out my IELTS General Pack. It's linked in the description. And now, how would you write to a manager you've been working with for several years? The danger is to go too formal. So let me show you what style is appropriate in the UK or in Canada. In our semi-formal letter, we use the same structure as before. Opening, 3 body paragraphs, 1 per bullet point, and a closing. Opening. Dear James. We open with Dear James because we've worked with that manager for several years, so most likely we'll use his first or her first name. And Dear Mr. Smith would feel too cold, too formal. Dear Mr. Smith is when you're applying for a job. Next. I just heard the news that you have decided to leave the company at the end of next month, and I wanted to write to you personally. So this is our semi-formal opening. It's warm, personal, goes straight to the reason. It's not too stiff and not too chatty. And I wanted to write to you personally is a great phrase to borrow for almost any semi-formal letter when the message is heartfelt, like a thank you. Now, the first bullet point, thank him for mentoring you. First and foremost, thank you. Over the past 4 years, you have been more than a manager to me. you have been a true mentor. And now some examples. From day one, you took the time to explain things patiently and gave me real responsibility long before I felt ready. And now the result. The confidence I have today comes largely from the way you trusted me with difficult projects and supported me whenever things went wrong. So again, we don't just say thanks, we invent specific details. And that's a good rule for any IELTS letter. Before you start writing, invent your story. Decide who James is, how long you worked together, what kind of projects you worked on. Because planning what you're going to write in your letter is not a waste of time. It's actually something that saves you time because you'll be able to write a better letter and write it faster. Now, this paragraph does some great things for your lexical resource score because it uses a wide range of vocabulary fluently and flexibly. Look at these phrases. More than a manager, a true mentor, took the time, real responsibility, trusted me with. These are collocations, words that naturally go together in English. And examiners do look for collocations you use, and this paragraph is full of them. The next paragraph with the bullet point 2 is available in the PDF version, so let's read the third paragraph. Our bullet point 3 is to ask about his future plans. That said, I'm sure this is an exciting move for you. May I ask what your plans are? Are you taking on another role straight away or giving yourself a proper break first? So what I want to show you here is questions. We have several of them in this paragraph. Direct questions in a workplace letter are completely fine, as long as they are polite. May I ask is a softer way of asking, and that's friendly enough to ask a real question. Next, whatever direction you take, please do stay in touch. This is a warm closing line. And wishing you every success, Daniel. So we close with wishing you every success, which is warm and professional and exactly right for this letter. And we sign off with Daniel, the first name, no surname. Okay, our last letter to a friend apologizing for missing her birthday. The tone is going to be completely different. How informal should you be when you're writing an IELTS letter to a friend? Well, let me show you. So we open with Dear Emma. Yes, we still use Dear in IELTS. I'm so sorry I missed your birthday party last Saturday. So look at the difference in tone straight away. I'm so sorry. It's direct, emotional, and contracted. Compare it to how we'd write the same idea in a formal letter. I am writing to express my sincere apologies for my absence. Two very, very different styles. Next. I have been feeling awful about it all week, and I wanted to write properly rather than just send another quick text. So a quick grammar note. I have been feeling awful. That's present perfect continuous. The bad feeling started in the past and it's still going on now. Lucy rang me the next day to tell me how wonderful everything had been. And had been is past perfect. So the party happened before Lucy called, so we shift one tense further back. Using your tenses correctly is exactly what examiners look for under grammatical range, so pay attention to that. I'm gutted I missed it all, especially when it's your 30th. So gutted is an informal word. It means deeply disappointed. We would never write that in a formal letter or even in a semi-formal letter. But an apology to a friend, that's perfect. So the next paragraph is what actually happened on that day. And I must say it's quite a story. You can read it in the playbook PDF. But now let me show you the final paragraph. Anyway, let me make it up to you properly. Anyway is the real spoken English word, which means we're transitioning to another point. Anyway, and you change the topic. It signals the writer is wrapping one thing and moving to the next. Let me make it up to you is a phrasal verb. So it means to compensate someone for something you've done wrong. Phrasal verbs are one of the easiest ways to make your writing sound natural and informal. Next. How about dinner next Friday? Just the two of us, on me? How about? It's straight from our reference slide. This is the informal version of may I suggest or I would propose, and on me means I'll pay. I will book that little Italian place you love, and your present is sitting on my kitchen table waiting for you. Once again, I really am sorry. Word order matters here. Not just I'm really sorry, but I really am sorry. And that small inversion adds emphasis. And it's a kind of pattern native speakers use without thinking. And that's what examiners notice. And we sign off with loads of love, Anna. This is as warm as a sign-off gets. And that's our third letter complete. And if you still have questions about writing IELTS letters, have a look at our IELTS General Pack. It's step-by-step preparation for writing and speaking, and it will help you save time and reach a higher score, which is exactly what so many of our students have done. It's linked in the description, and that's where you can also download the Ultimate IELTS Playbook with all 3 letters plus extra materials for each IELTS section. And I know that for general training students, a section that's completely overlooked on YouTube is general training reading. And that's what this video is about, and it's on our new IELTS general training channel, just like this one. And thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam.